last year?
Yeah, Watson.
Yeah. What year is this?
A lot of this is just getting some guys ready who are playing on Saturday.
I'll tell you this. Now, he took too many sacks, and I'll put that on him. I'll put that on him in the system. He's got to be better. But he's deadly accurate. He's got great touch. And when you watch him in that first preseason game, the thing that I loved, and I mean loved, is his ability to slide and his movement skills in the pocket and still being able to create space, not eyeballing the rush, but feeling the rush.
Stop everything! The Cleveland Browns just made the most shocking quarterback decision in franchise history, and it's sending shockwaves through the entire NFL. After weeks of resistance, after institutional pushback, after ownership interference that nearly tore the organization apart, Kevin Stefanski just walked into that press conference and officially named Shedeur Sanders as QB1 for Saturday's game against the Rams. But here's what nobody's talking about. This isn't just about football. This is about a complete organizational surrender that reveals the true power dynamics in Cleveland. And what I'm about to show you will change how you view every quarterback controversy in the NFL forever. What you're witnessing isn't just a depth chart announcement. It's a seismic shift that exposes the brutal reality of modern NFL politics. I've been tracking this story since draft night, documenting every behind-the-scenes power struggle, every heated meeting, every moment of resistance that led to this explosive conclusion. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the three critical factors that forced Stefanski's hand, the devastating impact on Dillon Gabriel that nobody saw coming, and why this decision will either launch a dynasty or destroy careers. If you've been following this quarterback controversy, you need to understand what really happened in those closed-door meetings, because this story goes way deeper than anyone realizes. Let me take you inside the room where this decision was really made, because what happened Wednesday night will shock you. According to multiple sources with direct access to the situation, Jimmy Haslam didn't just suggest that Stefanski start Sanders, he delivered an ultimatum that shook the entire coaching staff to its core. Picture this scene. It's 8 p.m. on Wednesday evening, and Stefanski thinks he's walking into a routine ownership meeting. Instead, he finds himself facing the most intense confrontation of his coaching career. Haslam, flanked by the front office executives, doesn't waste time with pleasantries. Start Sanders or face immediate consequences. Those weren't just words, they were a declaration of war against everything Stefanski believed about quarterback development. But here's where it gets fascinating. Stefanski didn't cave immediately. Sources tell me he fought back for 3 hours, presenting film breakdowns, statistical analyses, and developmental timelines that supported a more gradual approach. He argued that rushing Sanders could damage his confidence, that Gabriel deserved more evaluation time, that the offensive line wasn't ready to protect a rookie in meaningful snaps. The room grew heated as voices raised and fundamental disagreements exploded into the open. Stefanski reportedly slammed his hand on the conference table and said, "You're asking me to sacrifice long-term development for short-term appeasement." But Haslam's response cut through every argument. The fans are threatening to boycott. Season ticket holders are demanding refunds. Corporate sponsors are expressing concerns. We're facing an unprecedented revolt from our own fan base. What makes this power struggle so revealing is how it exposes the modern NFL's biggest contradiction. Coaches are hired to develop players and win games, but owners are running businesses that depend on fan engagement and revenue streams. When those two priorities clash, as they did Wednesday night, someone has to surrender their principles. The breaking point came when Haslam presented the financial data. Merchandise pre-orders had exploded beyond all projections. Social media engagement was reaching playoff levels. National media attention was transforming a meaningless preseason game into a cultural phenomenon. The economic impact was undeniable, and in that moment, Stefanski realized he wasn't just fighting for his quarterback philosophy, he was fighting against the entire business model of professional sports. By 11 p.m., the resistance crumbled. Stefanski walked out of that meeting knowing his authority had been fundamentally undermined, but also understanding that his job security depended on Sanders' success. The coach who built his reputation on methodical development was now betting his career on a fifth-round rookie's ability to handle immediate pressure. This power struggle reveals something crucial about every NFL organization. When push comes to shove, business considerations will always override football philosophy. Stefanski learned this lesson the hard way, and his Thursday press conference demeanor, resigned yet determined, told the entire story without saying a word. Now let me tell you about the most heartbreaking casualty of this entire situation, Dillon Gabriel's complete organizational exile. What happened to Gabriel after Thursday's announcement is so devastating that it's already changing how agents negotiate rookie contracts across the league. Gabriel arrived at Thursday's practice expecting another day of competition, another opportunity to prove his worth through the methodical evaluation process he'd been promised since draft day. Instead, he walked into a nightmare that destroyed months of preparation and shattered his confidence in ways that might never fully heal. Multiple witnesses described the scene as uncomfortable, tense, and borderline hostile. Gabriel reportedly arrived 15 minutes late, unprecedented for a player known for his punctuality and professionalism. When he finally appeared, his body language told the entire story. Shoulders slumped, eyes avoiding contact, moving through drills with the mechanical precision of someone going through the motions while processing devastating news. But the real drama exploded during the quarterback meeting when the depth chart was officially revealed. Sources tell me Gabriel's frustration boiled over in ways nobody expected from the typically composed Oklahoma transfer. Words were exchanged with the position coach, heated words that revealed months of suppressed anger about his treatment within the organization. Here's what makes Gabriel's situation so tragic. He did everything right. His completion percentage throughout camp exceeded expectations. His knowledge of the system impressed coaches daily. His leadership qualities earned respect from teammates. His work ethic became legendary among the training staff. Yet none of it mattered when political dynamics predetermined the outcome. Gabriel's supporters within the organization, and yes, he had them, are quietly expressing outrage about the unfair treatment. One veteran offensive lineman told reporters off the record, "Dillon earned the right to compete fairly, but this was never about competition. This was about marketing and money." Another coach, speaking anonymously, said, "We're teaching young players that performance doesn't matter as much as perception, and that's a dangerous precedent." The ripple effects extend far beyond Gabriel's personal disappointment. His agent is already fielding calls from other organizations interested in acquiring a disgruntled talent who was drafted in the third round for legitimate reasons. Trade discussions are accelerating because both parties recognize the current situation is untenable. Gabriel needs a fresh start where his abilities will be evaluated fairly, and Cleveland needs to eliminate the locker room tension his presence now creates. But here's the most damaging aspect of this entire situation. Gabriel's treatment is sending shockwaves through agent circles across the league. Representatives are questioning Cleveland's evaluation process, wondering whether similar political dynamics await their clients. When agents lose trust in an organization's fairness, it affects every future negotiation, every draft strategy, every free agency pursuit. Gabriel's exile also reveals the brutal mathematics of NFL roster construction. Teams invest draft capital in players, but when circumstances change, those investments become expendable. Gabriel represents millions in sunk costs, but organizational harmony and quarterback room chemistry matter more than financial efficiency. The most heartbreaking element is Gabriel's professionalism throughout this ordeal. Despite the obvious unfairness, despite the broken promises, despite watching a fifth-round selection leapfrog him completely, Gabriel has maintained his dignity. He continues preparing as if opportunities might emerge, continues supporting teammates who receive preferential treatment, continues representing the organization that failed to honor its commitments. This situation will follow Gabriel throughout his career, but it might also fuel the determination that transforms him into a success story elsewhere. Sometimes the best revenge is proving doubters wrong, and Gabriel now has powerful motivation to succeed in spite of Cleveland's evaluation failures. Saturday's game against the Rams isn't just another preseason matchup. It's a cultural phenomenon that will either launch Shedeur Sanders into superstardom or create one of the most spectacular failures in recent NFL history. Let me break down exactly why this single game carries implications that extend far beyond Cleveland's franchise. First, understand the unprecedented national attention this game is receiving. ESPN's College Game Day is considering special coverage for a preseason game, something that's never happened in the show's history. Fox Sports is preparing extensive pregame features typically reserved for playoff matchups. NFL Network is dedicating resources that usually cover October divisional games. International outlets are expressing interest because of Sanders' global recognition through his father's influence. This media circus transforms Saturday from exhibition to examination. Every throw will be analyzed frame by frame. Every decision will be scrutinized by former quarterbacks turned analysts. Every reaction will be interpreted through the lens of franchise-altering significance. The pressure is unlike anything most rookies face, even in regular season debuts. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Rams aren't treating this like a typical preseason finale. Sean McVay traditionally uses these games for roster evaluation with vanilla schemes and conservative approaches. Instead, sources tell me he's preparing exotic packages specifically designed to test Sanders' rookie limitations. Multiple pressure concepts are being installed to exploit inexperience. Coverage rotations are intended to create confusion and force mistakes. McVay understands the opportunity here. Embarrassing Cleveland's anointed savior on national television creates psychological advantages for potential future matchups. It also sends a message to the entire league about respecting veteran coaches and established systems. The Rams' defensive coordinator is reportedly salivating at the chance to welcome Sanders to the NFL with a memorable introduction to professional-level complexity. The economic implications are staggering and reveal why ownership forced this decision. Ticket prices on the secondary market are exceeding regular season levels. Upper deck seats are commanding premium pricing. Concession projections have doubled. Local establishments are preparing for Super Bowl-level crowds. Hotels are experiencing unexpected booking surges. The Sanders effect is generating millions in unexpected revenue before he's played a meaningful snap. Merchandise sales have exploded beyond all inventory capacity. Number 2 Browns jerseys are backordered indefinitely. Customization requests are overwhelming production facilities. Even youth sizes are selling rapidly as parents invest in their children's fandom early. The merchandising bonanza exceeds the wildest projections and demonstrates Sanders' marketing power. But the most significant aspect is how Saturday establishes Sanders' identity within the organization and across the league. Success validates every decision made in his favor. It proves that ownership's intervention was justified, that Stefanski's resistance was misguided, that Gabriel's treatment was necessary. Victory creates momentum that compounds exponentially throughout the season. Conversely, failure questions everything. Poor performance suggests the evaluation process was flawed, that political pressure overrode football judgment, that organizational dysfunction continues despite personnel changes. Struggle validates every critic who questioned rushing Sanders into action, every analyst who predicted rookie growing pains, every fan who preferred veteran stability. The psychological impact on the locker room cannot be overstated. Veterans have pledged enhanced protection, knowing the national spotlight intensifies scrutiny. Receivers are expressing excitement about Sanders' arm talent and explosive play possibilities. Even defensive players acknowledge the momentum shift and energy transformation that Sanders brings to practice intensity. This collective buy-in represents a significant development considering Cleveland's history of organizational fractures. When teams unite behind a common cause, when individual interests align with collective objectives, powerful motivation emerges. Sanders has created this unity simply through his presence and potential. Saturday also represents Cleveland's unofficial franchise relaunch. Marketing departments are adjusting campaigns to feature Sanders prominently. Social media strategies are pivoting toward Sanders-centric messaging. Television commercials filmed this week emphasize youth, excitement, and possibility rather than the cautious, diplomatic language previously employed. The transformation extends beyond superficial changes to fundamental identity shifts. Cleveland is no longer the franchise paralyzed by quarterback indecision. They're no longer prioritizing veterans over potential. They're no longer ignoring fan preferences in favor of organizational stubbornness. Whether Sanders succeeds or struggles, Cleveland has acted decisively, and that alone represents progress. So here we are, decades of Cleveland Browns dysfunction, years of quarterback failures, and months of organizational resistance all culminating in this single moment. Shedeur Sanders carries the hopes of an entire franchise, the dreams of desperate fans, and the weight of a decision that revealed the true power dynamics in professional sports. Saturday will either validate everything we've witnessed or expose the dangers of letting business considerations override football judgment. But regardless of the outcome, we've learned something crucial about how modern NFL organizations really operate when pressure mounts and revenue streams are threatened. I want to hear your predictions. Will Sanders rise to the occasion and justify all this chaos, or will the pressure prove too much for a fifth-round rookie? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know if you think Cleveland made the right call or if they've set Sanders up for failure. Make sure you're subscribed because I'll be breaking down every moment of Saturday's game and analyzing what it means for the Browns' future. This story is just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next.